All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Memorial Day. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. Thank you for being here. And I had a question for Dr. Gupta.
But you're thinking about sparing her, right?
No, I lost my way in my question. But let me just make this. Let me ask Dr. Gupta something. Do you know what a healthy sleep? Do you know what a healthy sleep is not only good for during the day?
Is that a joke, Giovanni? Or a serious question?
I'm trying.
Both.
This is terrible. Let me tell you what a healthy sleep is good for during a long day. Shortening a work day. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Atlanta. Good morning, Southeast, East Coast, West Coast. Good morning, wherever you are. Good afternoon, good evening, if you're plugging in later. Thank you for being here. We like to say over here, it is not a small thing that you're here, and it is not a small thing you woke up. It's really a big deal you woke up. Millions of people didn't wake up this morning. So thank you for being here. Today we have a phenomenal conversation with two amazing human beings. I can't wait to get us started. We're going to talk about for what Sorel and I is the #1 source or reason for anxiety disorders and mental health issues in America today. So this is going to be a really juicy conversation. But before we get started, we're going to get all primed and ready for today's conversation. So let me start with you, Sorel. Sorel, let me ask you two things, critical things.
Come on.
Where are you and what time is it?
Gil, I am right here. And the time is now. Now, you didn't ask me what I'm grateful for, but I want to tell you that.
Tell me.
I'm grateful for the military. I'm grateful for people who genuinely give of their lives, their time, and their contribution to protect this country we call ours. And guess what? I'm only here now because of them. And I'm grateful for that.
Yes, thank you, Sorel, for saying that, for bringing that up. And thank you to the military and to the people who serve with that uniform for the opportunity that others get to enjoy and just a beautiful life. That is so true. Tara, I'm going to ask you another quick question, two quick questions so that we could get all ready with you. Tara, two things. Another thing you're grateful for, and who are you going to hug today?
Oh, good morning. Good morning. Something I'm grateful for. Well, this weekend I have been making, since I got back from traveling, I have been making recipes from Food Fix University. So I am feeling gratitude for Food Fix University. We've had such yummy food. And I'm going to hug the person with whom I'm making the food, my amazing husband.
Thank you. Thank you. Healthy and love. This is just phenomenal stuff. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Ms. Gupta. Thank you for being here. Kashish, thank you for being here. And let's get us going, Sorel. Let's get us going. So go ahead, Sorel. You want to
Let's get rolling. I was also looking at Sudesh. Sudesh Gupta is here. Nidhi, I imagine this is your mom.
Yes, she is my mom, and I'm grateful.
Good.
Welcome.
All right. Well, Gio, you mentioned it earlier, right? For you and me, looking at our lives, looking at our careers, looking at the teenagers in our lives, the people we love, we've been seeing this trend. And I don't know if it's obvious to everyone, but there is a certain breed of addiction that today keeps me, like me, I'm not talking about other people, keeps me glued to something called my wireless device. And it's been having an impact on the way I live my life, certainly in some way, shape, or form, impacting my mental health, and in some way, shape, or form, having me deal with anxiety disorder in some way. Now, I don't know if what I'm dealing with is pronounced or benign, but I'm dealing with it. And so today's conversation is really about that. And we're bringing to the party two phenomenal experts, Dr. Nidhi Gupta and another phenomenal expert, Tara Caldwell-Heaton, who is the expert in talking to the brain. So in dealing with this addiction and dealing with the consequences of it, that's what today's conversation is all about. Gio, you want to take a moment and give us a short introduction or presence, Dr. Gupta and Tara, to the world?
Yes, there is what there is to say about them in their professional accomplishments, and that whatever I'm going to say truly is a tip of the iceberg of the opportunity that their lives are and have been. But what I'm going to say is real quick. Dr. Nidhi Gupta, she is a pediatric endocrinologist. She's the founder of Freedom, born and raised in India, and she's a mother of 2 children, and her guiding principles are knowledge and balance. And I've had the chance to meet Dr. Gupta in the context of a transition between working at the hospital and then being a messenger for who she wants to be for parents in the context of what you're saying, Sorel. So it's really an honor to have you, Dr. Gupta, here. And we're going to share with our audience an event that we have coming up a little bit later, where you and Tara are going to be just really guiding us in understanding why adults, children, teenagers have this undistinguished addiction and anxiety that's happening in the world right now, and certainly in America. And Tara, it's someone who just impacts you the moment you meet her, with this unbelievable knowledge of understanding the dynamic of the brain. And she's a communications expert and helps business owners and entrepreneurs understand how the brain works and why the brain works the way it works, to create narratives and stories that connects them with their purpose and with their audiences. So it's an honor to have you both here and to start this conversation. So I'll start with you, Dr. Gupta, and then we'll go with you, Tara. Dr. Gupta, I met you in this context of being working at Vanderbilt, correct? And you were making, in some degree, the transition of developing your practice, because you discover something between, or you notice something between screen time and the health and wellness of children. And you said, I need to take this message to the masses, or be as loud as I can, and not be framed by, if you will, by the structure of the work at the time. What did you discover? Why did you make this your mission?
Great question, Giovanni. So looking back in time, July 1, 2002, I was a first-year medical student in New Delhi, India. After 16 years of rigorous medical training that was distributed across 2 continents, on August 1, 2018, I walked into the hallowed hallways of Vanderbilt University as an attending physician. It was my dream job. A few months earlier, February 25th, 2022, I resigned from my dream job. The next day, I launched Freedom, Ungrip Devices, Grip Life. Over the last 4 years of my time in medicine, Giovanni, I realized that I was not able to fulfill my mission in medicine. My mission to empower my patients with knowledge about their health conditions so that they can transform their attitudes and practices. So you would think, well, what was the barrier to empowering them with knowledge? the fact that almost 70% of the diseases that I was encountering in my medical practice had their roots in unhealthy lifestyles. Lifestyles that were largely stemming from excessive use of wireless mobile devices by children and by their parents. For example, diagnosing a 5-year-old child with exogenous obesity because he weighed 130 pounds and there were no hormonal imbalances to explain the weight gain. Diagnosing a 7-year-old child with type 2 diabetes mellitus, which is typically a disease of adulthood. Explaining to an 11-year-old young boy that his type 1 diabetes is uncontrolled because he's up all night watching YouTube and TikTok videos, during which time he's snacking subconsciously and not taking insulin for those snacks because his parents aren't around to supervise him in the middle of the night. Diagnosing a 17-year-old young lady with a bed sore due to her video game addiction and resultant sedentary behavior. We tend to trust what other humans around us do, Giovanni. Our mind tells us if it is okay for others to do it, it must be okay for us too. But that trust is often misplaced. With all of this information, I had to take a big, a bold, and a very stressful decision to move on to freedom.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And there's something that I can't avoid but to be impacted by someone in a mission. And you taking 16 years of your life to create your dream job and then say, hey, hold on a second. My mission is leading me also somewhere else. And there's so much courage. There's so much to say about that. But let me introduce Tara as well and bring her story as well. And then talk a little bit about why are you guys, why did you guys say yes to this event? Why are you guys, what are we committed on next week on Saturday? So Tara, it's so great to be with you. And the moment Sorrel and I met you and you came to the Daily Huddle for the half an hour of the Daily Huddle, I was completely hooked with what you were creating for all of us in the context of communication and the way the brain works. What have you discovered, Tara, that that screen time that our devices, how have you discovered that impacts the mechanics of our brain, if you will? And now I'm saying it wrong because I don't know what I'm talking about, right? But the mechanics of our brain and why that it diminishes productivity, why it diminishes our ability to be in relationships. Everything that's important to us now is threatened, if you will.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I think I'll take you back just a step or two and then share with you what I have discovered and why I'm so passionate about this topic. I never would have studied the brain had it not been for my daughter who suffered a virus and a brain injury. That sparked my study of the brain. Well, interestingly, as years have gone by, her brain has continued to be damaged, so much so that it is a very clear, simple experience and example of how all of our brains work. So we love dopamine and serotonin. Those are feel-good hormones. You've probably heard of SSRIs, which are the #1 growing. SSRIs that's a depression medicine. It's selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor is what it stands for. But millions and millions of people take SSRIs to hold on to the serotonin as long as they can in their body. It fights depression, quite specifically. Well, so we're not necessarily craving a cell phone or a computer hit. We're doing two things when we cannot seem to walk away from our mobile devices. One is we're after that craving of dopamine and serotonin. And that screen is the easiest way to get it. The dopamine is that need for It's that anticipation. It's that when you're in a video game or you go to your social media and you hope to get those good likes, and then you open up your Facebook and someone sends you a beautiful message about how much they loved what you wrote. That's serotonin. That's an easy way to get it right from that screen. Well, dopamine and serotonin are highly addictive, and they also leave our brain very, very quickly. We can't hold on to them like some other neurotransmitters, which are called neuropeptides that makes them also hormones, which Dr. Gupta has devoted her life study to. But we are dismissing our need for those hormones, that connecting and that trusting because of the screen. So it's an easier way to make us feel good is to look at that screen. It's also a safe place. It's a safe place to get something back that makes you feel good. And the big thing that I'm seeing, and I will share much more of this at our event, but it's not just young people. It is an opportunity for us to avoid what we don't want to deal with in life. Interestingly, the number one thing that young people have a difficult time doing, depressed young people, is getting in the shower. Now, why might that be? What can't you take into the shower with you?
I'm guessing the obvious answer
Yes,
will be the phone, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. We are so addicted to that screen time because we want that feel good dopamine, serotonin, but we're also addicted to it because it protects us from facing things in life that maybe we just don't want to go there. And what's scary for our young people, Gio, is we're not even giving them a chance to learn to deal with life, to have in-person social relationships. We're not giving them a chance to learn to deal with hard times by facing them, with sitting with our pain, to let pain in so that we can set it free. We're not even setting them up for that. So that's a big reason why I am so passionate about this topic.
Wow. I mean, and Sorel, I know you want to add to this conversation, so I want to invite you. This is two phenomenal life stories coming together for a social issue that we're dealing with. Anything you want to add, Sorel? And you're on mute as you're adding it.
What both Taras and Dr. Gupta are pointing to is starting to get obvious in this conversation, but mostly it goes unnoticed. And for us, that's why this event on the 18th of June is so critical. It's like ringing the bell, sounding the alarm, making a wake-up call. People, we are addicted to our wireless mobile devices, and we don't know it. And not only that, and I may be going out on a limb here, but Dr. Gupta and Tara, I'd love for you to confirm this. It seems as if the manufacturers of wireless mobile devices and the developers of applications that run on them actually know intimately about the working of the brain and build the devices and build the apps to take advantage of that. Is that the case? I may be completely wrong.
That is exactly the case, Sorel. We talk about artificial intelligence all the time, and we like to think that artificial intelligence is a robot working behind the scenes. There isn't any robot. It is just very, very, very smart algorithms who are watching anything and everything that we do online. The links that we click on, the keywords that we type in our Google or Yahoo search, that helps the artificial intelligence or the algorithms figure out what type of a person we are. So each one of us has a secret identity behind the internet that we don't know what the internet thinks we are. We might think that in our private office, on our private browser, in an incognito mode, we are looking for things which are very personal to us and nobody has access to that, but none of that is personal. Based on that information that the internet and the search engines gather on us, they feed us content that they think will be of interest to us. It is clickbait. They feed us links, advertisements that we are very likely to click on. And in that process, they have our time and they have our attention, the two biggest commodities that are auctioned behind our back, our time and our attention. So we have to work hard and we have to be very cognizant of the fact that our time and attention are being sold to other people for money. We cannot let that happen. It's not just about privacy, it's about who we are, it's about what the internet thinks we are.
Wow. So I wanna share something that I'm present, and maybe Tarek can answer a question, or Dr. Gupta, you can say something also about that. One of the things that I'm noticing as I go in my everyday life is that I'm gonna have a hard time saying this because the whole thing is new language, right? I'm going on my everyday life being pulled towards a trigger of satisfaction by looking at the phone. Like the whole day I'm going by it. And I think you said, Dr. Gupta, we see our phone on average around 90 times or so. And then I get my satisfaction from looking at the device, and it's like unconsciously the satisfaction that life can bring to me is no longer available, like relationships, like doing what I love, like a great conversation with another human being. However, even though I'm getting this quick satisfaction from the device, my life is becoming emptier and emptier and emptier and emptier. And I think it's me. The entire time I think it's Giovanni with his purposeless life. And I think that millions of people are making themselves wrong for how awkward they are tolerating being alive, how awkward the whole thing is. Any thoughts on this, Tara? That is my experience of being alive now.
Yes, you nailed it. And I'll use I think an example that we all can relate to. Have you ever found yourself, and I know your answer, but let's just go here for a minute. Have you ever found yourself in one of those deep, rich, rewarding conversations with someone? Like you're both just totally vibing, you're creative, you just get so lost in the conversation with the person. They fascinate you, you're intrigued by their insight. Have you ever found yourself in one of those moments?
Yeah.
And did you have the urge to look at your phone during one of those moments?
Yeah.
Really?
If it's right there, that's the thing about these phones, right? If it's visible, if it's there, if it's face up, I'm in that conversation and then I'm not even looking at the phone. It lights up and it takes me away. It's not like I had the need to or wanted to, but it pulled me anyway.
Mm-hmm. And you're really, really speaking to that habit. Because you're right, even no matter how beautiful the conversation is. So 2 points here, really, thanks to your response, is when we're in those deep, rich, beautiful conversations, we are building some connection with somebody, which helps us to alleviate our craving for dopamine and serotonin. Yeah. It mitigates that because we're getting something rich and beautiful from this conversation. However, it is such a habit, that just like what you said, no matter how great the conversation is, if it lights up, we have the tendency to want to grab it just out of sheer FOMO, right? Dr. Gupta?
Absolutely, out of sheer FOMO. And Sorel, it might help you to know that there is proven medical evidence that simply the presence of a wireless mobile device in your vicinity, without you even engaging with it, is enough to cause distraction. That is why it is recommended that overnight, even though you are turning off your wireless mobile device and putting it aside, it is recommended that you put it outside your bedroom. So move your charging stations outside your bedroom, because simply the presence of a screen in your bedroom disrupts your sleep, even though you are not checking it.
Do you guys wonder too, because I hear this a lot from folks and I've heard it come out of my mouth. Well, that's nice, but I have teenage children or young children. I cannot be away from my phone. And I've learned some hacks against that mindset. When I was in college, I lived in downtown Atlanta by myself and called my mother only on Sundays because it was expensive. So I think that we certainly, I almost wonder if you see a lot of people with that reaction, Dr. Gupta, and what you might suggest to them.
So solution number one is get a landline and keep the ringtone of the landline loud enough so that you can hear it in your bedroom. Solution number two is turn off the notifications for your messages, but keep your cell phone on ringer for your calls. Because there is this unexplainable urge to answer all messages instantly. We live in a world of instant gratification, right? We are so used to receiving messages, responses, and sending responses instantly. That doesn't have to be the normal. If somebody needs us right away in an urgent situation, they should be able to call us. So keep your phone on ringer for calls, but silence all other notifications and get a landline.
Tara and Dr. Gupta, thank you for this. Something's coming up for me. I'm calling it, I don't know what to call it, but I'm now calling it ghost productivity. Dr. Gupta, you say that it takes me 25 minutes to recover and recoup from an interruption from my phone, and yet I'm interrupted by my phone an average of 96 times. I mean, that's a serious drain on productivity, isn't it?
It is. And if you want to double check that data for yourself, Soraya, because these numbers are derived from published literature. So if you go into your phone and if you go into the settings, go into screen time and click on see all activity, it will tell you exactly how many pickups on an average per day you have had on your device. And it will tell you what is the first thing you open when you pick up your device. Like for me, it is typically my notes, because that is where I keep all of my list of things to do. So once I have done one thing, I need to go and see what is the next thing I need to do. For some people, it is messages. For some people, it is emails. For some people, it is WhatsApp. So that information right there in settings will tell you how often you pick up your device. And trust me, it might be in the ballpark of 75 to 125 pickups per day. It takes about 19 to 25 minutes to reorient ourselves to an interrupted task after we have been interrupted by a distraction. So if we are in the middle of writing a proposal, writing a research paper, writing an email, and we are constantly distracted by the glowing screen, which is right there on our desk, it's hardly possible to accomplish anything in a given day. It affects our productivity, it affects our efficiency. When we lose our train of thoughts while we are doing something, we tend to procrastinate that task for a later time because we cannot keep our thoughts together. And when we keep procrastinating, things keep building up, our tasks keep building up. It becomes a big mountain of work that takes a lot of inertia to even start doing. So it's best to keep your devices in your desk drawer for at least 15 to 20 minute interval at a time. Pledge, resolve that I will not check my device at least for 15 minutes. If you are able to conquer 15 minutes, then increase your goal to 30 minutes. Essentially, we should be able to work without interruption for at least 60 minutes. That's not asking for too much.
Dr. Gupta, thank you. Tara, thank you. Folks, this is just the tip of the iceberg. On Saturday, June 18th, we're going to have 3 hours chock full of the evidence as to why our wireless mobile devices are addictive, how they impact our lives and life in general, and what we can do to actually ungrip devices and grip our lives. That is, grip our lives to give ourselves back the joy, the health, and the productivity that we think we have. That's why I was pointing to ghost productivity. Like the more I handle my phone, the more I deal with the interruptions, the faster and more efficient I become. I get to think like I'm being productive. So, Chio, tell us a little bit about the event itself.
Okay, very good. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Dr. Gupta. Thank you, Ms. Desh Gupta. Thank you, Kashish, for being here. And so for those of you who are listening, on next week on Saturday, you want to register for Reconnect That Expert. And I left you a link on the Facebook where we will have a conversation on my guess is that we're going to take a deeper dive on understanding the mechanics of our brain, the impact that it has had, the mobile devices and our addiction, if you will, on our life, on our children's life, why it's so common to have people to have anxiety, to have depression, to have all these mental health issues that they can be completely correlated to the way the devices work. So if you are a human being committed to productivity, to having great relationships, and if you have children, this is a must event that you must attend. You got to cancel your wedding, cancel whatever you got going on and be there. It is likely going to sell out, so reserve your spot now so you can be there with us, or you can register virtually as well at reconnect.expert.
That is reconnect.expert. You reconnect to love, you reconnect to stress less, you reconnect to learn how to eat so that you can stay healthy, sleep well, and be in the mood to give. Come reconnect with us to shake what your mama gave you and grip your life. We'll see you on the 18th of June. Go to reconnect.expert.
See you there.